after the Golden Globes with a KFC bucket on his head,
All right, so
drunk as a skunk.
we
We've been
live.
recording for a long time, man. Are we?
Yeah, we live now. I
Okay.
just I just say that so just in case somebody wanted to cuss or something like that. Y'all just know.
Oh, us? We don't talk like that.
Try it.
Look here,
We are
Mickey
gentlemen. We are
Mickey
gentlemen.
Freeze. Look here, Mickey Freeze.
Mickey.
We are descendants of Wakanda
Yeah.
forever.
So at the beginning of the show, we all got to come on and greet each other that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, so today we're gonna get in. Normally I ask y'all a question, but I don't even have a question for the end of the show at all.
You know what? There's no need for it at this point, man. It's all Black Panther, sir. I've never been this proud of my life.
So, you sure? Never been this proud in your life ever? So you mean to tell me when Toy came out, you wasn't this proud? When Toy came out, the toy.
Played Richard really, really, really bad. I don't like how they did him, man.
Yeah. Top
Some of his
five.
best work.
All right.
Toy, y'all like it when Richard is being played out and sold out, and when he was all coked up and everything. I don't like that, man.
That was some of his best work when he was on coke.
No, don't say that, sir. Some of his best coked up work was like in the 70s, not the 80s. 80s was coked up and warmed over. At least in the 70s, he was hot and funny. And apparently gay, so,
Yeah. All right. So let's get apparently right. So let's get the show started, man. And welcome into the Barber Shop 918. You up in here with your man, Big Drew.
Big
You suck, Jay.
Big Drew.
There we go.
Thank you.
Next time, I want you to start barking a little bit. We're going to start adding something to it. J-Rock.
Boom.
Oh, see. There you go.
And the one and only Raw Dog.
All
All right. All right, we got
doing it, baby.
we normally have a jam-packed show for you, but today,
Little light.
little light. We're going to call this the Black Panther episode because we're going to talk about Black Panther for probably the majority of the show. Like every subject matter, somehow, NBA, we're going to talk about the NBA. Somehow Black Panther's going to work its way in there.
Somehow. That's how we do it.
Yeah.
I already know what we gonna say about that.
Victor Oladipo. Yeah. So,
Yes.
He wore a mask. Did he wear the mask? I didn't see it.
yeah.
we'll talk about that later.
And so we got NBA talk, and then we got pretty much Black Panther talk, and right now we're gonna go ahead and get into the word on the street.
Word on the street.
Woo!
Sweet one. I'm going to taste the beverage.
That boy good.
I'm blessed to witness such genius. Like, man.
I let the Lord use me, man.
Let him. You are a vessel for the Lord.
I'm a conduit.
Yeah, you used all right, but all right.
That's a old joke. I don't like that, man.
Yeah.
I don't
is.
like that one, man.
It-
That hurt. That had a little sting to it.
Yeah,
on, man.
yeah, it did. I apologize. I know when I cross a line. I'm sorry, sir. We need to stick together. We need to stick together.
After this weekend, and we going at each other like this?
It has to
We're
end.
supposed to be brothers.
All right, let's get it going, fellas.
All right, so with the word on the street, that's when we give you music news, TV news, and movie news. This week, we pretty much know what the movie news is going to be about. But J-Rock, what's going on music-wise?
All right, music news. The Billboard Top 200 for this week. Coming in at number 9 is Kendrick Lamar's "Damn."
Yeah, that's what you get. Froze up. All your happiness and anticipation to just be belligerent and just look at God.
Look at this picture. Doesn't it look like he's getting ready to cuss?
It do. Oh. The technical...
Hey, should I go ahead and do the movie news?
Yeah, go for it, boss. I'll try to get him connected back in.
All right. That was hilarious. All right, so box office. At number 5, believe it or not, there were other movies other than Black Panther that came out last week. Was the 1517 to Paris? That's the one with Clint Eastwood in it about the terrorists on that one. I don't even know what you call it. It's a train that goes to Paris.
Yeah, we talked about it last week. Yeah,
That made 7.5 mil.
that's generous.
That's very generous. Number 4, Jumanji, which has been just bringing in the dough.
Yeah,
is brought in 7.9 mil, which is a very successful movie so far. At number 3, 50 Shades Freed. I don't know why this movie keeps making money, but it made 17 mil last weekend. Number 2, Peter Rabbit, 17.5. And just to show you just how good this movie was, Black Panther made $202 million.
now that's just domestic. That's
just domestic.
Yeah.
That doesn't even count like foreign. The foreign box office.
Worldwide is projected to be like in 400, like in the 400,000 range, which is right up there. We were talking those numbers with Star Wars last month.
It's both the most movies, both The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. It has topped those two.
Yeah.
Now keep in mind Disney.
Yeah.
So
it's a good time to be the mouse, man. I honestly think that Disney has to be the devil. Is Jay?
We see Jay's wall. Hey Jay, welcome back. Like you about to say,
Did it do it again? It did it again. Look at you. You need to stop playing with God.
Lord, I'm sorry. Damn.
Go ahead, man. You already started now. Go ahead. The show's already back up.
I want to hear the Billboard. Box office champs, man.
We already
You
did
missed
that.
it?
We did that.
We already did
What did Peter Rabbit come in at?
second.
How much money did Peter Rabbit make?
It made 17.5 mil. And Black
On a
Panther
holiday weekend?
and Black Panther made 202 mil.
And counting.
And count, and that doesn't include, like we said, the foreign box office. That's just here in the United States. That's how, and it's just surpassing all records, and it's probably going to be number 1 for a few weeks, man, because people are going to go back and watch it again. Because there are a lot of things you're going to miss in that particular movie that if you were caught up, you just missed it, you didn't see it.
Yeah, I went to see it a second time, and we'll talk about that later. But all right. So what do you got, J Rock? With I'm sorry. Hold on. What's your suggestions for next week? Raw Dog. Is it to just go see Black Panther again? All right.
Yes, but there's one other new movie out that I find kind of interesting. I'm a big fan of a dude named Jason Bateman. Y'all know who Jason Bateman is?
Yeah.
Well, he's a colonizer that is a very funny guy. He all right. Stop looking like that, Drew. You're making me laugh.
No. That's one. I'm doing the count. But I'm counting how many times you can pull off saying colonizer throughout this show, and it's natural. It has to be organic. You can't just force it.
I know, but that felt good though.
It did.
So he's in a movie called Game Night, and basically it's a movie Have you seen some of the previews?
Yeah.
About to get together to do game night, and they're doing this mystery thing, and it turns out to be mystery and murder and all this stuff. So it looks pretty interesting. But other than that, there's really nothing out there other than Black Panther. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. If you have seen it, go see it again. Dilly dilly.
There you go. All right, J Rock, give him what you got, man.
All right, this is take 3 on the Billboard Top 200. Number 9 is Kendrick Lamar's album that's been out for over a year.
Yeah, darn it. Just say darn it. Dang.
Darn it.
Yeah.
Number 8 is Post Malone, Stoney. Number 7 is Bruno Mars. Number 4 is Migos, Culture 2. Coming in at number Timberlake's A Man of the Woods.
Mm.
And number 1, the Black Panther soundtrack.
All right. Have y'all heard it?
Yes, numerous times.
What you think of it?
I love the album. You know, in this day and age, like we always talk about, you know, the streaming and everything, you sometimes you get an album and you're not able to listen to it because a week later you got something else new from else. But this particular album, it's TDE influence with Kendrick Lamar, J Rock, SZA. Yeah, in fact, they're on the All the Stars song. Can't forget about The Weeknd. It's a very heavy influenced TDE album. I love the album. If you haven't heard it, you should check it out. And also,
there's a song called Redemption. It's very African, Caribbean flavored. I don't even think Kendrick is even on it, but it's real hot. It's called Redemption. On that
and it's a song. I forgot the guy's name, but it's called Paramedics. And
yes,
it has like a Northern California hyphy influence to it. Mm-hmm. You know, I've been listening to it in the gym. I love the song, man. Right. But also, this album dropped this past Friday. Nipsey Hussle. He's been in the game for over a decade now. You know, he's made mixtapes, including his Crenshaw mixtape that he was selling for $100. And Jay-Z, I think he bought 1,000 of them. But he's finally released his first album, Victory Lap, and the album slaps. You know, it has Kendrick Lamar on it, YG, Puff Daddy, CeeLo Green. If you haven't heard Victory Lap yet, you need to get on it.
I swear, Snoop's cousin. I swear he is.
That's Snoop's son, man. Come on, man.
He look just like him and talk just like him, man. And by the way, speaking of Bruno Mars, have you seen the price of the tickets for his concert?
Yes.
It's absolutely ridiculous, man. Who can afford $100 in the nosebleeds, man? Who can afford that?
You, Skybox.
Yeah, you brought that up just to brag. I'm surprised he ain't gonna pull them out. Who can afford it?
Jeffrey, give me my tickets.
Dude, the first show sold out, and like the second show, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm used to going, maybe because the people I like are older and they don't charge as much. You know, like Charlie Wilson. He ain't charging for $200 a ticket, man. Charlie ain't charging like that, man. Don't laugh, man. He ain't.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you can get in with just
like $40-$50, man. That's a good night out. But $175 for nosebleeds?
You must be out your mind.
I'm just saying. I didn't mean to go off on a rant like that, but
that's a lot of money. No, that is a lot of money, man.
If you want to take your whole family, you're talking about almost $500. Who has $500-$600? If I'm gonna spend that much, I'm going on vacation. I'm not going to no doggone concert.
That's partial rent. That's part of. I mean, that's part
of your mortgage.
Yeah,
he ain't lying.
Do I go to the concert or do I pay my mortgage? You shouldn't have to make them kind of choices.
If you find yourself making that choice, it's not a choice to make. Pay your rent.
Well,
like pay your rent. Like just don't.
I wanted to go because dude know how to put on the show, but I'll be Kendrick Lamar's album if I'm gonna pay that much, man. I'm just
Oh man, it's taking everything out of Jay just to not say it. Ain't got nothing to do with me. It's just happening that way. All right.
He's a heathen.
He is. What else you got for him, Jay? Is that it, boss?
That's all we got from the music news.
All right. So in television, man, there's a lot of good things going on Netflix right now. Chris Rock has his new special out.
Already out?
Yeah, it's for me. Now for everybody else, it's a pretty good special. It started off in typical Chris Rock fashion. I can't lie. I personally I'd say a quarter way through it, cut it off because I'm at a point where it's like I don't want to take in too much cussing. And Chris is hilarious as he is. He puts it out there, but I'm not saying that as a way of don't watch it. That's just me personally. I didn't want to watch it for that purpose. But other than that, it started off pretty funny. So you got
that's a lot of cussing.
Yeah, it's a lot of cussing. Then he goes on a rant against some of that's kind of against some of my belief systems. He has this joke about God made mistakes. And so that's kind of another spot where I was like, all right, I'm out. But it's your typical Chris Rock special, so I think you'll laugh at it. You know what I'm saying? I think it'll be pretty funny. So, it's a lot of other good things going on Netflix, but that's mainly the main thing I wanted to highlight. We'll talk about some shows to binge next week. Other television news. Have you got?
Death Row Chronicles came on last night. I didn't catch the first part, which was the origins of Death Row, but I caught when they talked about the era between 93 and 94 when Snoop Dogg's debut album came out, and it was right around the time when he was going through the Philip Marion murder case, and then he came up with Murder Was the Case. He made the video and all that kind of stuff. So they should, basically the cops was looking for Snoop. Instead of turning him in, said, well, let's go ahead and go to the MTV Awards and make an appearance, and then we'll just turn him in right after he makes his appearance. And that's exactly what they did. Because he knew if they made an appearance at the MTV Awards and people knew the cops was there, they were going to sell more albums. So my question to y'all is, y'all know how big that album was back then. If Snoop had not had a murder case, would he have sold? Because he sold 800,000 right out the top. Would he have sold as much if he was going through that murder case, or if it was just a regular Snoop Dogg album? As much?
Well, I'll go ahead, Drew. My bad.
I remember that time real clearly, and I remember I lived right down the street from a record store, and there was a hype about it just because everyone was ready for Snoop to drop his album, so it would have sold. I think that it probably contributed to a few additional people, but to be honest with you, I think the murder trial only contributed to the sales of Murder Was the Case soundtrack, and not necessarily that album, because Doggy Style was going to sell, period, point blank, because that was one of the most anticipated albums, because all the magazines, everything, the hype was telling us that Snoop was the one who was responsible. From watching it last night, I was like, yeah, we all kind of knew that. Suge wasn't telling us anything new. Everyone knew even back then that we were like, okay, Snoop's the one who's really behind Death Row's success right now. So I think it would have still sold well. Maybe it gave him a few additional, sales.
Like with some of the colonizers?
Boom, that's two. Yes. And it was natural. But yeah, absolutely. It was. But yeah, you're absolutely right, though. I think that's it. Because, man, like, often people try to make a bigger deal out of something. Jay, what was you going to say about it, though?
You pretty much, if it wasn't for the, what he did on the Chronic, I mean, that's what, had everybody hyped about the Doggy Style album. And, Coast, he was running things, that was around the time Cube was getting out of, doing rapping and going to making movies and everything. So he was the new. So I feel like even with the murder trial going on, he still was going to sell records because he was, like you said, hot as fish grease. And just think if we had social media at that time, his hype he probably would have sold 1 million in the first week.
Yeah. And what's funny is, truth be told, I believe the Chronic really sold well because of Snoop. Like, it would not have had the continual, like, it was that there were going to be a few people who were going to buy it because it was, someone from NWA, the whole beef that was there between Easy. That sold a lot. That sold the album a lot. But what got people, once you're talking about people spreading the word and saying, you got to hear this, it was Snoop's delivery on the Chronic that made it go to the next level.
And you know that because all Dre's albums that he put out, like that first Aftermath album, and then that Snoop on there, and it didn't do well.
Yeah, no,
they never done that. Remember that one?
Yeah,
been there and done
I
that.
got guns. You got straps.
The only thing tight about that song was in the video at the end when the beat changed and they was doing like the tango. That was kind of hot. But other than that, that song was garbage.
Not the tango, but yeah, like the deep cover soundtrack. I mean, like that deep cover song. From that point on, we knew that it was all about us trying to get Snoop's flow. That was it. Because Dre tried to work with. Remember, he tried working with The Firm, and you got to think about the talent there, and that didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like,
had good production. Didn't
It had
go over well.
great production.
Yeah.
It had so much potential, but
yeah. Dre and Snoop, it was the combination. Like, you had to have those two together. Because, to be honest with you, Snoop moving forward beyond Dre, he's had a few pockets. Like, I think when he works with Pharrell, it's masterful. But other than that, we make fun of that, the No Limit era.
The No Limit era is hilarious.
And like I said, if you can't,
I call that Snoop's lost years.
If you can't make a hit with Beats by the Pound,
Jordan with the Wizard years.
Snoop's lost years.
Yeah,
and he did his albums quick on No Limit. He had to do 2 or 3 albums. Them albums came out like bam, bam, bam. Before he did his own thing.
Yeah. All right. So, what else we got with television news, man? Is that just about it? You got a Black Lightning update for us? I call it. Okay. It
was a rerun this week.
Last night? Okay.
Last night it was a rerun. I can't think of anything else as far as TV.
The Shy. It was a good episode this past Sunday, yeah.
I didn't get to see all of it. I didn't get to see the ending of it. But as we keep pointing out, Ronnie, who we pretty much established is Drew's uncle, is finding out more information about his son that got killed, right? Is that what this was? Yeah. When he couldn't get in it. And that's when I fell asleep. So I don't remember what happened at the end. So,
well,
I fell asleep. That's an old joke. I can see it on your face. Sir.
What? No, it's not written all over my face.
He's like, he fell asleep.
You don't have to say your
there you go, Jay. Yeah.
What's the name of that group, Jay?
Rude Boys. Gerald Levert's boys.
He is.
He is really good.
You can just throw any song out there, and it don't matter. He'll get it.
Yeah, but you were making me kind of nauseous for a second there because for whatever reason, it looked like you was doing jumping jacks without moving because your camera was moving a lot. You doing it now? Don't stop doing that, man.
No, because I'm not on my laptop.
Facebook and we have an argument about your camera.
Hey, you know what song I heard the other day, and it's totally off subject. What? I heard Sayonara. I can never say the word Sayonara by Taste of Honey. Remember that song?
Hey, that song is tight.
Yeah, it just took me back. I figured you would enjoy that memory.
I can appreciate that, man. You know how many times that's been used by hip hop people?
Yeah.
See, Jay don't know.
I probably know the sample.
You do. Denise Williams is more. I think Denise Williams did a version of it, didn't she?
She did.
And
then, what's his name? Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick sang a little bit of it, and Lottie Dottie.
It is Lottie.
Okay.
Snoop. We were just talking about Snoop, so it's all full circle. There you go.
See?
Yep.
See, we are so freaking good, man.
Yep. I was waiting.
It's a wonder we don't have our own show.
Yeah, we should. They trying to keep us back, man.
They.
Who's they?
Colonizers.
Boom.
Booyah. Trifecta, baby.
That was natural too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go ahead and let's stop bull crapping and let's go ahead and have this conversation about Wakanda and talk about the Black Panther movie. Because that's pretty much our hood topic for the day. Black Panther. It's so many layers to this movie that, and so many different discussions that we could have about it. Let me just start off by just asking this one basic question. What's your favorite part of the movie?
I'm gonna say, man, it's hard to say one part. I can say that Michael B. Jordan?
Duncan.
Yeah.
I almost said Duncan.
R.I.P. Michael Clark Duncan.
Okay.
He is probably the best villain that I've seen on film ever. Only because you kind of understood you understood where he was coming from. You almost want to cheer for him. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Because they kind of did him wrong.
Now what?
Do you consider him a villain? Is he?
He is a villain.
Yeah, he's definitely the villain. But here's the thing: he said what he did was he studied Magneto very closely, and his character did become a Magneto-like character where he's fighting against, like he's killing other people in order for his people to be liberated, and he also studied the Joker. And I found, and once he said that to me, it was kind of like it shattered the glass, and I realized he was a perfect blend between the Joker and Magneto. So I kind of feel like he comes in a close. He's the most identifiable villain that I've ever won. I can say that. Yeah.
I like he had an arch as far as how his story was told in the movie. And I liked his last comment. I thought it was cold-blooded.
That's the best part of the movie, period. And
his last comment before he died?
Yeah.
That was gangster.
That's the best. We spoiler alerted a little bit there, but it's all right. They should have seen it by now.
I forgot
exactly. Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Oh well.
But here, let's talk about that. I don't believe he's dead.
You don't think so?
Because they don't die. Here's the thing. I saw a dude lean down, and when I paid attention to it, how do we know he just didn't put the little balls in him like he did the colonizer when he got shot in the spine?
That is very true, sir. He could very well have done that.
And he's, because think about it. Now, did y'all stay for both deleted scenes?
No. Now, I'm mad about that.
Okay.
Stay for the first one.
So
didn't know about the second one.
So the second one, basically, the Winter Soldier has been in Wakanda all this time. And
Bucky.
Yeah, so how do we know it ain't the same situation? Because we knew Bucky, we knew the Winter Soldier was dead, and here he is in Wakanda. So.
Well, here's the thing. There was an end credit of the last Captain America movie where they were working on Bucky, and when they did the out, they were in Wakanda. So, but see, I didn't catch this one this time. I thought it was just one when he basically, T'Challa was telling them that, hey, we're going to open up what we have, our resources, and all that. So yeah.
The Easter egg in the movie was when they brought the first colonizer to there, and she said, "Oh, great, another white boy another broken white boy for me." That was the big thing. Like, oh, that's what she was talking about.
The Winter Soldier, right? Yeah. Right. I mean, that to me, and I hate that I spoiled it. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, yo, but y'all should have seen it by now. My goodness, you always supposed to go the first week. But yeah, that. Tell you what, I want just see it for yourself.
That's what I found myself on another podcast the other day saying the exact same thing. Like, I'm not going to say the quote. You got to go see the movie because it is that good.
The quote is cold-blooded.
Yeah, it's floating around everywhere. It's on memes. Jay, what was your favorite part of the movie, boss?
I mean, my thing.
Or superheroes or anything like that. You're just jumping on at the last minute. You one of them. Go ahead, Jay.
Are you done?
I am now.
All right. The entire movie, I enjoyed it, but it's kind of hard to just choose one scene. But I'll say I like the casino scene because I knew the music that was going to be a part of this movie. So just the whole car chase scene and everything, where the sister was back at the head was doing, and then Black Panther was chasing down the guy with the one arm. I'm not supposed to be spoiling the movie, but I don't care. Like you said, they should have been watching.
That's not a spoiler because that's literally in the commercial. You're not spoiling nothing. Go ahead, bro.
But I like that, and then the fighting scenes with him and the guy who tried to take his spot when he became king, and then his fight scenes with Michael B. Jordan. Those were my favorite parts of the movie.
I think.
Yeah.
Which from the comic, which was something that they went ahead and kept from the comics. That scene actually did happen. I'm glad they stayed true to that actual factor because that did happen when he when he stole the throne from him. He did it a little bit different because I'm not going to get into that discussion.
Yeah, because the comic books is always going to be different than the movie. You know what I mean?
But I am glad that scene is there.
I liked him Buku too.
Yeah, I was going to say my favorite character, my favorite part was when Winston Duke's character basically, he has him and he gives him back. He had the chance to take the flower, and he didn't. And I appreciate.
Oh, flower. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
okay, I know what you're talking about.
The heart. deal. And so I love the factor that, it showed that it went full circle. He saved his life. He could have killed him. In the challenge, he let him stay. He said, your people need you. So I like that. That was my favorite part.
Okay, I just thought about, my favorite part was towards the end when Winston Dukes and his people came, and my guy from Get Out, when he was on the Rhino and he was trying to take him out.
Yeah.
And Tupac Mama from All Eyes on Me, she jumped in front of the Rhino.
Yeah.
And then like, you gonna really do that? And she was like, I'll take Wakanda over you. It's Wakanda forever, pretty much. She was like down, even though they were a couple, I guess. And she said she was gonna choose Wakanda over him. And then he kind of like surrendered at that point. I was like, I thought that was cold.
I didn't have that. I've had that moment with my wife over some waffles. I was like, would you kill me over that last waffle? She was like, for an Eggo waffle? In a heartbeat. Like okay.
Now put it down.
Like, so, yeah, I identified with that scene.
I love the way that the sisters represented this movie, man.
Man, they went in.
Yeah, it was.
They came hard through the whole movie. I mean, from what's the name of the security? I forgot the name of the security. What they call them? They called them something. I can't think of the name of them. But
the sisters.
Yeah, they did not mess around. And then of course you had T'Challa's girl who was a spy. What was Nakia?
Yeah.
And
Lupita.
And then you had Angela Bassett, who I still have a crush on to this very day.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
And
throw a shade.
I mean, this really could have been one of those movies where the women could have, played the background, but the way that they brought them in and made them so powerful, made them so integral as part of the storyline was amazing. That's what we need to see more of that.
There was one criticism that I read when I was looking at reviews was that a lot of people in the gay community felt as though that they were left out of this movie, 100%. And that there were plot lines and there were chances. And so as I continued to read the article, the woman who played the general, I can't think of her name in real life, she was the one who was bald in the movie. She said that
she played Michonne in The Walking Dead.
Okoye.
Yeah. She said that there were some scenes that were shot that kind of indicated that there was, like that there might be a character coming along, but those scenes didn't make it past the cutting room floor for whatever reason. So, yeah. But it wasn't a necessary part of the film. Like, I didn't even think about that. Like, at no point, I just felt like everyone was represented to some degree.
We can't put everybody in the movie. Yeah. We just got a movie that had all black people in it. Give us a moment.
The Dora Maja.
You ain't even saying
Maja.
You ain't saying it right at all. I get what you're saying, though, sir.
It is. It's I'm looking at the Dora Maja.
You're not saying it right, but whatever.
I don't even know the name of it.
Okay, so
it says something else.
Check it out. Man. Okay, here's the thing. I saw Joe Rogan make a comment about the movie, and he said, I don't get what the big hoopla is all about because we had Blade back in the 90s. And he's right. We did have Blade.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between Blade and this movie. And here's my opinion, and I want to see what y'all opinions are. The reason why this movie means so much more to us than Blade is that this movie is uniquely black. Okay? Blade wasn't. Blade just happened to be black, and there was one other black person, and everybody else in the cast was white. This movie was 95% black folks, and it was uniquely black. So black that it's African.
Yeah.
Whereas Blade's character didn't deal with his blackness. He was just a character that happened to be black. What y'all think?
No, that's 100% it. Like, Blade is actually an interchangeable character. Like, you could easily turn around and see Blade being played by a white person. You know what I'm saying? Where you'll never really... Who's TV? Anyway, so...
you wanna focus, bro?
I was pulling up information on
Why
Black
do you get
Panther.
information that needs to make noise, man?
So
Do you see we're on Facebook Live right now, sir?
What's up?
so yeah, so yeah.
As you were saying, sir.
But no, yeah. I mean, I think that this totally different because this is a black movie where there was a black director. There was, everything through and through was shot from an angle where it's meant to give hope. Blade is a story that not many people in general will even want to identify with. There's something about this movie that crosses a line that makes you think that it could be possible, even though it's not. You really still have a hope that it could be possible. Blade ain't real. We know that ain't real from the get-go.
True.
Like,
True.
if you bite me, I'm gonna punch you, dude. Like, at the end of the day. Like,
hey, man, by the time they made the third Blade movie, Blade was the only black person in the movie.
Man, it's more than one Blade? Oh, my God.
Yeah. Actually, the first one, the second one was actually better than the first one. It was directed by Guillermo del Toro. And it was done well, but again, with a lot of black folks in Blade, too. It was a few. There was none, except for Wesley.
Now, Blade 4, The Chronicles of Blade Brown, now, it had both kid and play in it. Don't forget about that.
Oh, don't bring that up, man. Sticky Fingers need to be tried and convicted.
Oh, God.
Trying to act.
Oh, you're talking about, I was just making a random joke. You're talking about there was a real Blade 4. You're right. You're right. There was my bad. I was talking about from was not House Party, but
Class Act.
Class Act, yeah. Blade 4, class is in.
Blade Brown, Yokes is mine.
It was a TV show called Blade, starring Sticky Fingers.
You're right. You're right.
And it was absolutely horrible. Because he's Sticky Fingers. Sticky Fingers, you know what? Sticky Fingers will never be the same since he lost that boxing match against that surfer dude. Y'all remember that?
MTV.
Yeah. Yep. And that was like back in the 90s. He's lost credibility ever since then. Am I right?
Hey, man, he made a classic album, man.
When?
You talking about Onyx made a classic album, or he made one?
The People versus, what was his name? Charles Jones. He was on the front cover with, braids.
There was nothing classic about that album, sir.
And his Forrest Whitaker was all over the place. Y'all remember that album, man?
I remember it, but there was the fact that you used the word classic just makes my stomach jump a little bit and makes me a little nauseous.
You need to drink some soda or something, man.
Shut up, Jay.
Because
shut the Hades up, Jay.
Because people his age think soda settle your stomach. Get your little ginger ale.
What is it?
Yeah, what is ginger ale? I knew that's why he was born with it.
Did you say shut the Hades up?
Yeah. Shut the Hades up, Jay.
Shut the. Oh God.
Oh. All right, man. Can we get serious?
All right. Well, and I would say the other issue that I liked about Black Panther, and I want to get you guys' thoughts on, is the factor that I didn't feel like Michael B. Jordan's character was the real enemy. I felt like this was the first time that Marvel decided to kind of go away from the whole Iron Man model that they've been using since the first Iron Man, where they make the character all, they give this dramatic backstory and then he comes back. In this case, it wasn't quite that clean. He had to make a decision to fight tradition. And so he had to there was this bigger enemy at hand, you felt like. And that's where the real battle kind of came in, was would he step up and be a better king than the past? Like, it felt like he was paying for his father's debts, which is like, come on, as an African-American man, we all kind of feel like we dealing with that, and to some extent. And it's like, I didn't ask for this diabetes, but I'm the only one. I'm the only one willing to say that, right? Okay.
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 Hey, I don't want this high blood
pressure. But we learn from James,
Look, the fact that this movie is so much different than the average Marvel movie says a lot. First of all, Ryan Coogler is going to be in this business for a long time, dude. Because he's 3 for 3. Fruitvale Station, Creed, this one. Okay. I believe that you're right. There were so many levels to this movie. It wasn't a good guy versus bad guy. It was so much more bigger than that. And that's because this story was written from the perspective of two African American men. You know what I mean? They put all of that stuff that we as African American, well, African Americans in general, deal with and put it into this fake, in kind of an allegorically way. You know what I'm saying? And I love that about this story because you could actually put together a college class for 6 weeks and just dissect this movie apart and see where it kind of goes with African American life and the things that we deal with.
Yeah, I agree.
So I agree with you 100% on that.
Jay, did you catch a deeper meaning behind watching this movie at all? What was your big inspiration before we move on?
I mean, just, the scenes where when Chadwick and Michael B, when they both went back in time and talked to their fathers, it's one of those things where, they were with Michael B. Jordan, with Sterling K. Brown. It was just like weird with what happened, and then his dad was saying, I wish I could have took you there, to Wakanda, and then he kind of like got, well, it's my time now and everything like that. And I will say it was the opening scene I didn't like because that was supposed to be Forrest Whitaker, but I'm like, that dude, like he was about 21, like I'm one of those with numbers. Like they said it was 1992, so was this supposed to be 2018?
Because Forrest Whitaker looked like that back then too.
No. What I'm saying is
but
that
I got you.
If they said, I'm like, it should have been somebody who was maybe like.
You're thinking way too deep into it, man. That's not what we meant by a deeper meaning.
That's his.
That's what I was thinking about when I was going back in time. It made me think about, that was Forrest Whitaker with Michael B. Jordan's dad. And I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, that's Forrest Whitaker like he's like 70 in the movie, and they try to portray it like that. That's why I was just like, what was the time frame? Was it 2018, or did they even mention that, or was it like present day? Like, or what was? I didn't know what the years were. I was like confused on that.
It would have been. It's at the same time as Civil War, right? So it would be modern time. It would be a couple of years ago, actually.
It's a comic book movie. That's what it is, Jay.
So it's time for us to talk about. It's time for us to talk about the NBA, and the NBA got it right.
You see how they treat me? You see how they treat me? I was just asking a question.
Jay, now,
movie.
I've tried to tell you multiple times to read the books and read the comics, and you're too good for the. I'm gonna send it to you in the mail, man. I'm gonna send you.
They don't have it online, man. I don't have time to read, man.
Was priceless. He was like, see, man.
That's why I don't support this stuff right here, man. This is a Black Panther too.
All right, Jay, calm down, man.
Watch him be an Ant-Man in a couple of months.
Hold on, what is Deadpool? Is that Marvel?
Yeah.
Or is it Okay, I watched Deadpool. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Deadpool was nasty, but whatever.
All right, so
that's the kind of stuff you're into, though, right?
The NBA.
Hey, man.
The NBA got it right with the NBA got it right finally with the All-Star weekend. Everything was entertaining. I think outside of the only thing that was somewhat of a failure to me was the World versus the World. When they do it used to be the sophomore freshman game, but now it's the World versus US. The early with the Rising Stars Challenge or whatever they call it.
Yeah. They changed that.
Yeah, it's for the last few years. It's been the World versus the US.
And they.
And
losing?
The problem that kind of exists with it, and maybe the big dogs have set a good example. They began to make it out of sort of like a talent show, like a dunk contest. And so there's no real defense being played, but the foreign guys are kind of foreign in that. So some of them, they come out shooting and ready to win, and
they're trying to win.
Yeah, and USA is just like, nah, we're good, you know. So that was probably the least entertaining part, and the skills challenge needs to go away.
Who won a celebrity game? Who was the MVP? Was it Quavo?
Yeah,
Quavo. Yeah,
Amigos. Like, he really knows how to play.
Yeah, he was a high school quarterback that apparently was highly recruited, so he's got an athletic background. So, and he was playing, like, it was a few times I was like, he's actually playing. Like, he's playing hard, and everybody else is kind of can't. You know, there was one young lady, and I don't know how she was a celebrity. I had never heard of her. It was a Caucasian, like, young lady out there. She was hooping. I thought she was going to get MVP, but I have no clue who she is. So, yeah, but the slam dunk contest, I think they killed my vibe with, they wanted to be shorter because they feel like it's not as entertaining. However, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I felt like I wanted 2 more contestants, or I wanted the rounds to be a little bit different because I wanted more of a show. I felt like Dennis Smith Jr. had something special planned and wasn't able to get it done because of the scoring system. Larry Nance pretty much popped his cherry on the first dunk. Like, he came out and did the dunk in his dad's jersey, and that was it. He really didn't have... He had a good dunk at the end where he bounced the ball off the backboard and dunked it, but that's only a good dunk for instant replay. So, overall, I like that portion of it. But the game, you gotta watch the game. What's your favorite part?
Incredible.
What you guys love about the game?
I like the new format.
They play defense.
Yeah, they played defense, and it wasn't like the last 2 years where Anthony Davis is scoring 50 points and nobody's playing defense. Like, they know that it's for a cause now. And so the game was great. You know, Steph's team was up for the majority of the game, but LeBron's team stayed in it. And as much as I hate to say it, you know, the Kyrie, LeBron, Russ, and KD, you know, formula, you know, it worked for them down the stretch. And that's what helped them win the game. And I wanted to be mad so much that, you know, they were all laughing and joking. But at the end of the day, I'm like, hey, the media is the reason why their relationship is the way it was, man. And it's finally like where it's like they're not being harassed about questions and everything. And they finally like get to talk to each other. And it's just like they were when they were in OKC, somewhat, in my opinion. With,
I don't believe
KD and Russ.
I believe there's still some feelings there. They just, you know, being professional, man. You know, I think Russ can't stand KD, but he's a professional, man. Now, when they play again, Russ is going after his head. Period.
This Saturday, can't wait.
Period.
I think I think that you gotta play well when you got a brand. You're trying to sell shoes. I think Russ is political. Like, he's got to get along with this guy, you know, but personally, he probably don't mess with him like that. You know, it's just, but hey, if we hear, we hear. But then again, I don't think Russ get along with anybody on that level. Like, I don't think he's
exactly.
I think he goes home to his wife and kids every day.
His teammates, and that's it.
Yeah, and outside, and to be honest with you, I think Nick Collison's probably the only teammate that he probably gets along with. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody else,
Nick got the greatest job ever, don't he?
You talk about having good seats, and then every now and then they let you participate. That's great.
Hasn't Nick been with the team since they was in Seattle?
Yeah.
Yep.
He's the last carryover. Because Russ was drafted, but he never played there. Yeah.
And he keeps getting signed. They keep re-signing him.
Yeah, no,
he's that guy, man. He's the only one on the team where I'm like, I would never question, you know, them re-signing him. You know, like Kyle Singler, every time. Really? He's still on the team?
Now, Cal Singler does not deserve to have a. I don't know. I'm whatever. I get to a bad place when I talk about Singler, but
leave that colonizer alone, sir.
What? There you go. So, what do you think? What do you think's next for? What do you think's next? How can they make this better, or do we just repeat that for the NBA?
Maybe make the the draft picks live.
Right.
I don't like the idea of them saying picking the teams the night before, like the way it was with with Steph and LeBron. I would have preferred it to be like on TNT. Both of them are on live, and then they got like their books and everything, and like, okay, with the number one pick, I'm gonna draft the Greek Freak. Number two, I'm gonna pick Draymond Green. Like that.
They could do that instead of that world versus
That could. I feel like the All Star game was the only. The All Star game was the only highlight of the weekend. Like the skills competition, 3-point contest, the dunk contest. You gotta realize the players now in 2018 are not like the players in 88 and 98. Like they're playing 50 games, and players are more taking a physical beating. So like, you want me to come to All Star weekend and use more energy on dunks and everything?
These players ain't taking a stop that. You took a physical beating back in 88 and 88 and 89 and 90. Have we forgotten about the Detroit Pistons?
No, but
they used to take people's heads off.
I'm saying man.
Go ahead.
Raw dog, no, the players are bigger now and stronger, and it's like them flying through the air and everything. You see all these injuries we've had. It was 4 players on the LeBron's team who got hurt.
Yeah, I think. Well,
they're protected, man. They're very protective. The referees protect these players. Trust.
And I think it's for good reason, because players are bigger and stronger now. Like, when you have you looked at LeBron's makeup, like how he's made up as a human? Like, that is weird that he can even move around the way he's huge, like a football player, and he's like, can you picture him running into you in basketball motion, not football, where you.
I can't get past his hairline, so I don't really look that.
I used to think, Karl Malone was like the prototype of a LeBron James, but when you see both of them running up and down the court, it's like LeBron is thoroughbred and My Little Pony.
That's because Karl Malone's hair it resists wind.
Oh my gosh, this guy robbed
that Duke haircut. It resists wind. So LeBron doesn't resist anything because there's nothing to hear.
Yeah, but no, I think Adam Silver, because right now, with there being no games and with the trade deadline already coming and going, Adam Silver, was on NBA radio today and made a statement about potentially shifting around the playoff seeding next. Just to make the playoffs more interesting. LeBron disagrees. He feels like it's fine the way that it is. The East plays the East. But, it's been a lot of discussion about, do we just, does it convert to a top 16 seeds? The top 16 go at it. And he said the only thing that stopped it in the past, because the majority of the owners would be for it, but travel time, because the worst case scenario is Portland draws Miami, for some odd reason. First round, and it's like that's a huge time difference, right. If Atlanta has to come out to LA or something like that. So it's never going to really happen, but I think he was throwing that out there today just for discussion, just to get attention. But I would if travel wasn't the issue, I would love to see that, because it then opens up the opportunity to where Golden State being the number 2 team and let's say Houston being number 1, I would love to see a situation where, those two, the 1 and 2 team could really play each other potentially for the championship, instead of, having to knock each other off. And the Western Conference Finals has been our finals for the past, 15 years? Even if the East pulls it out, we still always feel like that's the real battle coming out of the West. So. All right, fellas. It's time for the final cut. If you guys got one, y'all got a final cut?
I do.
All right. Well,
Jay, I know Jay has one.
Jay, you need some time to think about it?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, y'all come back to me, man. I'm hurt right now,
It's on you, Raw Dog. It's all you.
Hey, man. You should never take your eye off the prize. There's a story in the Bible. It talks about Peter being in the boat and seeing Jesus out on the water. Peter comes out the boat, He sees Jesus, but the minute that he takes his eyes off Jesus, he begins to sink in the water. I think that story is about as relevant today as possible. There's so many distractions and things that can take you off of your path, but you got to keep your eyes on the prize, whatever that is in your life. You got to continue to go after it, and don't get distracted, man. That's pretty much all I have to say. Keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on what it is that you're trying to get to. Don't get distracted. Don't take your eyes off of it, because if you do, you're gonna start to sink. With that being said, don't tell God about your big problems. Tell your problems you got a big God. And I'm out.
Jay, you want it? All right, I got
Yeah.
it. Okay.
All right. Back in 2009, summer of 2009, I remember this. I was on my way to Connecticut, and it was this song called "I'm Feeling Myself" by this artist from Compton, Nipsey Hussle, featuring Lloyd. And so when that song came out in 2009, I was like, man, this guy has potential. I feel like he's gonna one day blow up and be a big artist for the West Coast. Well, this past Friday, he released his first solo album. So it took 8 years for this man to put out an album. But over that time, he's always underground. He released mixtapes. He was on featured verses. And everybody was always saying, when are you going to put out an album? In this day and age where somebody can go into the studio and put out an album within 2 hours and it's on the internet, this man waited 8 long years, went through the process of staying independent. Everybody's respected his hustle, and he finally put out a great album. So I just look at life where, sometimes, with the Philadelphia 76ers, they're currently in the playoffs right now after tanking and losing for the last 3 years. You have to trust the process. Sometimes it's not right to put something out right away. Sometimes it's good to let it marinate and then release it. And like I say every week, winners win and losers lose, and they all find a way to do what they do. I'm J-Rock, and I'm out.
All right, so earlier in the week, right before All-Star game, someone came out and made this statement about LeBron James where they basically said he should shut up and dribble. And was one of the most irritating moments of my life because she basically called him out for his education or his lack of education. And even though she was wrong, she wasn't educated on what she was saying. It's one of the things that I've had to deal with down through the years of understanding that God has called me to do a lot of different things. And I may not have the more traditional education, but I'm well educated and I can, in the area in which God has called me to work in. I'm saying that to say this to you today. If you're watching this and you're something that you've been called to do, don't worry about whether you meet everyone else's standards. Work hard toward it. I'm not saying don't go to school, but what I'm saying is you can have success when you apply the best effort possible and you go after it. And don't let anyone tell you to shut up and dribble or shut up and stay in what lane or what box they want to put you in. Break out of that box, all right? And remember, hate can't drive out hate. Only love can do that. And we love you guys for watching and listening to the Barber Shop 918. You can make sure you can check us out at
TheBarbershop918.com. Catch us on Buzzsprout, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. Just Google us. If you don't find us, then you ain't looking for us. And you should be looking for us because it's a pretty good show. Pretty good show. We do.
He ain't lying.
No, I ain't lying.
Right.
And rest in peace to Kashif and Ray J.
Billy Graham, R.I.P. Billy Graham.
And Chocolate Cake.
Alexander O'Neal.
It
just happened, man.
It just happened.
I really didn't think Billy Graham was going to make this episode. Surprised on that one.
How diverse this show is.
It is.
We can talk about Kendrick Lamar's album and Billy Graham in 1 hour.
Damn!
You see what he just did?
Ouch!